No, nobody should be mad. He should enjoy himself, brother, before he go to jail.
The Department of Homeland Security conducting a raid at a house in Holmby Field Hills, believed to be connected to
Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most influential figures in music and entertainment, has been hit with a shocking legal blow. The news broke that Combs lost a massive judgment, one worth $100 million. Yes, you heard that right. $100 million. And here's the kicker. This didn't even go to trial. The judgment came by default after Diddy failed to show up in court to contest the serious allegations against him. You might be wondering, how could someone with the kind of resources and legal teams that Diddy has just let this happen? Well, buckle up, because this story has layers, and it's about to get wild.
New at 5, the legal troubles continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who says that he was assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the lawsuit in court.
The man behind this huge legal victory is Derek Lee Cardello Smith, who isn't exactly the typical plaintiff you'd expect to see win such a massive sum against a celebrity like Diddy. Cardello Smith, currently serving time in prison, accused the hip-hop mogul of something that allegedly happened way back in 1997. The details of the accusation are as scandalous as they are disturbing. Cardello Smith claims that Diddy, at a party in Detroit, spiked his drink and violated him. The setting, the glamorous, fast-paced world of the 90s music scene, where stars like Diddy were at the height of their fame. According to Cardello Smith, that's when everything went down.
You, sir.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner.
You might think, how does someone come forward with accusations this serious decades later and actually win? Well, here's the twist. Cardello Smith has a legal mind of his own. Despite being incarcerated, he's built a reputation for himself as a legal expert, having studied both civil and criminal law while behind bars. He's filed lawsuits before against some pretty major names, no less. He even claimed that Diddy tried to make the case go away by offering him over $2 million to settle. But Cardello Smith wasn't having it. He claimed he rejected the offer because he refused to accept what Diddy allegedly did.
Oh, man, yeah, that's crazy, man. But have you been hearing any news about him getting indicted?
Now, let's get to the courtroom drama. Or should we say the lack of it? When it came time for the court to hear the case, Diddy was a no-show. Yup, despite the massive amount of money on the line, Diddy didn't bother contesting the accusations in court. Lenawee County Circuit Court Judge Anna Marie Anzalone had no choice but to issue a default judgment. In case you're not familiar with legal jargon, that means the court ruled in favor of Cardello Smith simply because Diddy didn't show up to defend himself. Let's pause here for a moment. Can you imagine? The man who has built an empire, from launching careers to creating multi-million-dollar brands, just let a $100 million judgment slip through his fingers?
Let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze them things. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the...
Combs' legal team has, of course, come out swinging. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, called the whole thing a fraud. Agnifilo stated that Diddy doesn't even know who Derek Lee Cardello Smith is, claiming that his client has never even heard of him. Strong words, right? Agnifilo didn't stop there, labeling Cardello Smith as a convicted felon and predator, attempting to paint the whole lawsuit as nothing more than a scam. According to Agnifilo, this judgment was built on lies and manipulation, and he promised that they would fight to have it overturned. In his words, the judgment was going to be swiftly dismissed.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as this seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in, every bit of it.
But that's not where the story ends. The court proceedings leading up to the judgment were filled with their own drama. In a preliminary hearing, conducted virtually, Cardello Smith testified that he had proof of his connection to Diddy, evidence that could be found in prison visitation logs. According to Cardello Smith, Diddy visited him in prison and even offered him millions to drop the lawsuit, something Cardello Smith claimed he refused to do. Now, Diddy's team has denied all of this, saying that their client had no part in any of it, but the fact remains, the judgment stands, for now. And get this, before the judgment was even handed down, Judge Anzalone issued a restraining order to prevent Diddy from selling off any of his assets, just in case Cardello Smith won the case and Diddy had to pay up. This move suggests the court was taking this lawsuit very seriously from the beginning. So, despite Diddy's legal team calling foul, the judge clearly felt there was enough to put legal safeguards in place to ensure that if Cardello Smith won, he could actually collect
She said it then became clear it was the opportunity to either speak up about the trauma she's experienced and she'll be recovering from for the rest of her life, or just kind of remain silent. So she chose to speak up.
Of course, Diddy's lawyers aren't the only ones raising questions about the case. Cardella Smith's own background adds another layer of complexity. He's not just any ordinary citizen. He's currently incarcerated with multiple convictions under his belt, including charges for misconduct and kidnapping. His past has led some to question his credibility, especially since he has a history of filing lawsuits. Some people might say this looks like a pattern, someone using the courts to shake down big names. But others would argue that the legal system is there for everyone, and just because someone has a criminal record doesn't mean they can't be a victim too.
This lawsuit is so long. It's so many things that, he's claiming Diddy did.
Now, let's zoom out a little. This isn't the first time Diddy's name has come up in court for allegations like these. Over the years, he's been hit with a number of claims, many of them involving misconduct and violence. And in case you missed it, this isn't just about men. Women, too, have come forward with accusations against Diddy. One of the most notable cases involved singer Cassie and bold singer Cassie Ventura, who was Diddy's longtime girlfriend. She accused him of some pretty shocking behavior. And although Diddy initially denied all the claims, it didn't take long for the case to be settled out of court.
But we've also heard that there's some secret lawsuit going on in New York City as it relates to Diddy, too. I don't know.
The settlement details were never made public, but it's safe to assume that Cassie walked away with a pretty sizable payout. So it begs the question, is there a pattern here? With all this legal trouble swirling around, it seems like Diddy's public image has taken a serious hit. What started as a career built on launching music legends and creating iconic brands has now become overshadowed by a series of lawsuits and accusations. But here's the thing, Diddy isn't just facing lawsuits from individuals. His legal troubles are starting to attract the attention of the feds. In fact, earlier this year, federal agents raided 2 of Diddy's properties, one in Los Angeles and another in Miami.
Sandra, this is going to turn into a huge scene that is going to be an all-day thing, and it involves, yes, P. Diddy. The home is actually registered to Bad Boy Films.
The raid was part of a broader investigation into some pretty serious allegations that could have long-lasting consequences for the music mogul. And just to put things in perspective, federal investigations don't just happen overnight. This means Diddy's legal challenges have been brewing for a while, and it looks like the heat is only getting turned up.
The only way he will not go to prison for the time that they want to give him is if he start giving them something.
So what's next for Diddy? Well, his legal team is working overtime to get this $100 million judgment thrown out. But even if they're successful, that doesn't mean Diddy's out of the woods. The judgment itself could set a dangerous precedent. You see, when someone wins a judgment like this, especially such a large one, it sends a message to others who might have similar claims. In other words, Diddy could be facing a whole wave of new lawsuits from people who believe they have a chance at winning now that Cardella Smith has come out on top. It's also worth mentioning that losing a judgment of this magnitude could spell financial disaster for anyone, even someone as wealthy as Diddy. Sure, he's built a fortune over the years through his music, fashion lines, and various other business ventures. But with legal bills piling up and multiple lawsuits to fend off, those financial reserves could start to dry up pretty quickly. And remember, it's not just about paying off the $100 million. There are legal fees, potential settlements in other cases, and the cost of fighting the federal investigations looming over his head.
I'm going to fight for my reputation. I'm going to fight for the honorable man I am, the righteous king that I am. I'm not perfect.
As the legal saga continues, it's hard not to think about how far Diddy's star has fallen. From being one of the most respected names in the music industry to becoming entangled in legal battles that could ruin both his career and his fortune. Some would argue that this is the price of fame, that when you live in the spotlight for so long, eventually your past catches up with you. Others, though, might say that these accusations are part of a larger pattern in the entertainment industry, where powerful figures are finally being held accountable for their actions. Either way, the public will be watching every move Diddy makes from here on out. And now, with Derek Lee Cardella Smith walking away with a victory, at least for now, it raises a lot of questions. Will this open the floodgates for more accusers to come forward? Could this be the start of an even bigger downfall for Diddy? And what about those federal investigations? Are we on the brink of seeing more legal trouble surface for the music mogul? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. And now, let's get real. This might just be the tip of the iceberg for Diddy. A $100 million judgment is one thing, but what if it's just the beginning of a much bigger downfall? Experts are already buzzing with rumors that Diddy could be facing even more serious consequences, ones that might lead to his complete and total collapse, both financially and legally. People are starting to say Diddy could end up behind bars for life.
Is there any possibility that he walks away clean from this, that everything is dropped and he faces no charges or any prison time?
Not impossible. I mean, anything is possible, But I don't see that happening. I see him kind of going the path of R. Kelly, where again, for so many decades, he was able to act with impunity and just, with harming so many, young women.
And it's not just about this default judgment. The bigger issue here is how this legal loss could set a precedent for others to come forward. And trust us, there are whispers that a lot more people are gearing up to do just that. If you think this is all about money, think again. There's talk circulating that Diddy's financial empire might be on the brink of collapse. With mounting lawsuits, legal fees, and now this $100 million judgment hanging over his head, there's speculation that his fortune might not be as secure as people think.
It may be some truth to it. But this dude is raping grown men. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we can laugh at it, but it sounds like it's true. I'm looking at it right now, and Diddy, he did go to prison, and he offered the inmate $2.3 million to settle the case. So
rumor has it that Diddy's businesses have been hit hard by all these scandals. From his music ventures to his lifestyle brands, everything seems to be crumbling under the weight of these accusations. Some sources are even claiming that Diddy is scrambling to sell off assets to cover the mounting costs of his legal battles.
And if he's allowed to go through with any of the sales, I won't be able to recoup any of my monies or anything from him as a result of any possible judgment in this action, if he's allowed to proceed with it. And an injunction or a restraining order would help ensure that he's not manipulating and selling the property to avoid this.
And remember that property sale we mentioned earlier? Yeah, it's looking like Diddy's trying to liquidate whatever he can to stay afloat. Could this legal loss be the straw that breaks the mogul's back?
So when is it possible that we would actually see him being arrested or facing any of these indictments? Could it be months down the line?
I feel that it would be months down the line. I would not be surprised if it was before the end of this year. Because again, this is going to be a massive investigation involving at least 3 states, much as we saw in the
And if you think that's dramatic, it gets even juicier. Some legal experts are comparing Diddy's current situation to cases like R. Kelly's or even Jeffrey Epstein's. They're saying that Diddy's current legal problems could turn into something way more serious. And when you look at the bigger picture, it's not hard to see why people are drawing these comparisons.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
Diddy's been in the spotlight for years, but lately, the attention has been on his legal battles, not his music or business ventures. Just like other powerful figures who have fallen from grace, Diddy's facing a flood of accusations, and these could be just the beginning of a much larger storm. One of the biggest questions on everyone's mind is, could Diddy be arrested? According to some legal insiders, it's a very real possibility. With federal investigations already underway, there's talk that Diddy could be looking at some pretty serious charges, and these wouldn't just result in hefty fines. They could mean serious jail time.
Right now, Davis is fighting for bail ahead of his trial, which he has pleaded not guilty for.
When you look at the kind of accusations being thrown around, it's clear that Diddy's not just fighting for his money, he's fighting for his freedom. And if he's found guilty of the things he's being accused of, we could be talking about a life sentence. But let's take a step back and look at the big picture. This $100 million judgment might be setting the stage for other accusers to come forward, especially now that Cardella Smith has shown it's possible to win big against someone as powerful as Diddy.
Diddy came to the jail and said that, hey, I'll give you $2.3 million or something like that, or 23. I don't know if it's 2.3 or $23 million to make this go away. We'll leave this alone the whole 9 yards. Just like I just said, he's trying to pay people off to make things go away, for them to drop their suits and everything like that.
And we already know there are others. People have been talking about Cassie Ventura's case for years. She famously filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of some pretty dark things. And while that case was settled out of court, it raised a lot of eyebrows. The fact that Diddy settled so quickly and for an undisclosed amount led many to wonder what other skeletons he's hiding in his closet. Could this be the start of more people coming forward now that they see he's vulnerable?
Nor did you apologize for lying that you didn't do what you knew you was on tape doing. So who was this apology for? I'll tell you who it was for. Diddy's ego. Diddy's brand. Diddy and his handlers are looking at this all wrong. You're trying to salvage his professional career.
There's also speculation that Diddy's team is in full-blown damage control mode, trying to keep the floodgates from opening. After all, if more accusers step forward, it won't just mean more lawsuits. It could mean more criminal investigations, and that's where things get really tricky. The fact that Diddy's been linked to multiple legal issues over the years, from civil suits to federal investigations, means he's already on thin ice. And now, with this default judgment looming over him, it seems like the cracks in his empire are starting to show.
That I know that there's a lot of evidence to gather over many years, but is it possible that a federal indictment could be just around the corner?
I would hesitate to say just around the corner, because with all of the experience I've had with the office approaches cases, they do not move until they have you fully, like they have you dead to rights.
But it's not just his legal team that's worried. Diddy's business associates are reportedly distancing themselves from him. There are rumors swirling that some of his partners, especially in his fashion and lifestyle ventures, are quietly stepping back. Nobody wants to be associated with a brand that's under this much scrutiny.
You heard about Diddy law firm breaking charges with him and Miami Beach taking his day away?
Well, all the things that happened to Diddy, and he losing friends, companies, cities, city names, city girls.
And let's be honest, when people start pulling out of business deals, it's usually a sign that they see something bad on the horizon. If Diddy's empire really is crumbling, it won't be long before even more of his partners jump ship. Another layer to this is Diddy's connection to some much older, unresolved issues. People haven't forgotten about the Shakur situation. While Diddy has always denied any involvement in the rapper's tragic passing, the conspiracy theories have never gone away.
Named Diddy 77 times in court documents related to Tupac.
And now, with Diddy's current legal problems, some are wondering if this could be the moment where more comes to light about those old allegations. Is it possible that these new legal issues could reopen old wounds? Some think so. And if that happens, Diddy could find himself entangled in one of the most infamous cases in music history. Speaking of Shakur, there are those who believe that Diddy's role in the East Coast-West Coast feud of the 90s may come back to haunt him. After all, that era was defined by violence, rivalry, and shady dealings, and Diddy was right in the middle of it.
Tupac Shakur is a music legend, and for a long time, this community and worldwide have been wanting justice for Tupac. Today, we are taking that first step.
The whispers about his involvement have never really gone away, and now, with his reputation in tatters, some believe that law enforcement might take another look at those old cases. Could Diddy's downfall lead to new revelations about one of the biggest mysteries in hip-hop history? It's not out of the question. And let's not forget, Diddy isn't just facing legal trouble in the US. There are rumors that international authorities are keeping an eye on him too. Some believe that his global business dealings could be under scrutiny, especially given the wide-reaching nature of some of these accusations.
The only man currently facing murder charges in the case, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, claims that Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, paid for a hit on Tupac.
With Diddy's assets and businesses spread across multiple countries, there's a chance that authorities in other parts of the world could get involved. If that happens, Diddy's problems could become truly global, and that would make it even harder for him to defend himself. So, what do you think? Is Diddy's empire crumbling beyond repair? Could this one judgment lead to an avalanche of new cases against him? And more importantly, could we be witnessing the fall of one of music's biggest icons with a potential lifetime behind bars on the line? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and stay tuned because this story is far from over.